Remarkable. Companions have evolved so much. In the early days, their simple AI merely imitated human art. Now this is all their own. Humans often said that making art is important in desperate situations. These are certainly desperate times. Since I was a kid reading Warrior Cats by Aaron Hunter, I've always wanted an adventure video game with a cat protagonist. Yet when Stray by Blue 12 Studios came out in 2022, I could not have predicted that this little sci-fi game, completely absent of human characters, would foster feelings of gratitude and hope for the human race's persistence. In this essay, we will examine the robots of the three main settlements, the slums, Ant Village, and Midtown, and how their mimicry of humans long gone is done out of emotional necessity rather than a biological/mechanical one. Now before I begin, I must make it clear that I am about to spoil some major beats of this game. I still think that the exploration of the map and the characters would make it worth playing, but proceed with your viewership of this essay having been forewarned. Stray is a 3D platformer game set in a domed and walled-in cyberpunk dystopia long after the death of humanity. You start your journey as an orange tabby living in a small colony outside the city, and after an unfortunate slip, you get separated from your friends and fall into the depths. There you discover this massive interior map that the developers have stated was based on the architecture of the walled city Kowloon in Hong Kong before it was demolished in 1993. Photographer Greg Girard, who visited the city before its demolition, described the atmosphere of Kowloon as the juxtaposition of the extreme physical compromises of the living and working spaces below against the slightly whimsical nature of interconnected rooftops and the relaxed atmosphere up above. I believe this atmosphere translated well to the game Stray. Continuing on, in Stray, the streets are narrow and filled with garbage, but neon signs lead you to an apartment where you meet a small drone robot with a sentient AI. The sci-fi kind, not the generative kind we have today. The drone introduces itself as B12, gives you a backpack, and says that it can help you leave the city if you help it open the city to the rest of the world. B12 leads you to the first inhabited area, a place called the slums. There you meet the robots for the first time. The robots inhabit the space that humans once did, and they mimic them in a variety of ways. They even call humans their ancestors, or the soft ones, because they recognize that humans created them, and that they eventually evolved into sentience because of that. The slums are not an easy place to live, even as a robot. There's the threat of mutated metal-eating bacteria, the Zerks, lingering close outside, as well as the limited mechanical parts available to fix the robots as they degrade. They are marooned in this part of the city, yet they persist with daily routines. There's a robot named Grandma, who knits clothing for other robots out of cables. There's a hypochondriac robot named Elliot, who codes all day and fixes tech. There's Roshi, who waters the plants that the robots don't need for oxygen. And there's Doc and Seamus, who call each other father and son. The robots mechanically do not need any of these things to survive, yet they mimic humans in a tradition of emotional comfort and to live these full lives in sentience. Both the environment and the game's quest design emphasize that this world is compassionate and lived in, and the majority of robots care for, worry about, and support each other. In Ant Village, B12 regains a memory that reveals to it that it's actually a human that uploaded its consciousness to a network before death. This causes the little drone to retreat into your backpack and refuse to speak or translate the robot's language for a time. As just a regular cat now, you explore and interact with the robots without understanding. This can lead to interrupting a board game, tipping paint cans over, and interacting with the robots as a cat would a human. When B12 is ready, it starts translating for you again. As well as while mourning its past life as a human, it provides the player with the most pessimistic voice of the game. B12 as a human from this world sees it as a dystopia, while the robots see it as life as normal. There are some robots who act like they were recently activated as children. One even is an artist in her destructivist era. B12 often fails to see that there are thriving lives still here worth introducing to the rest of the world outside the city. Midtown is the wealthiest area of the walled city. It is rife with neon signs and bustling shops and parties. Yet unlike Ant Village and the slums, Midtown has sentinels and drones that patrol the streets and enforce antiquated laws adapted from human times. These robots seem to have not evolved like the rest of them, and appear unintelligent. They are loyal to NecoCorp, the ancient corporation responsible for the construction of the city, yet the citizen robots still thrive in this oppressive context. They have barbershops, boomboxes, Dungeons and Dragons, clothing shops, and a nightclub. To describe why I think some robots evolved and these ones didn't, I will use Harry Harlow's unethical experiments with monkeys in 1958 as a metaphor. As a quick aside first, I must emphasize that Harlow's experiments were abhorrent examples of animal abuse, that's why I won't be showing them. It's a really good thing that there are ethics boards for psychological experiments today. Regardless, these experiments can be used as a useful metaphor. In the experiment, Harlow separated baby monkeys from their mothers and raised them in a cage with two inanimate prop mothers. One was constructed of wire and provided the baby monkey with food, while the other was constructed of cloth and provided nothing but a soft feeling. Without fail, every time the baby monkey was done feeding, it would go to the cloth mother, and every time the baby monkey was startled, it would go to the cloth mother for comfort. This experiment proved that emotional needs are just as important to development as physical needs, and that for our argument's sake, the comfort of the metaphorical cloth mother is necessary for a child's growth. In this way, I can claim that the ancient humans are the cloth mother to the robots, and NecoCorp is the wire mother. For you see, NecoCorp designed the walled city, the robots, and practically all the tech that's used in the game. It provided physical life to the robots by being the creator, just as the wire mother provides food. Yet the humans that lived and loved in that city before the robots are the cloth mother because while not being physically present or animate, they provided the emotional template for the sentient evolution of the robots. And in that same way, the sentinels and corporate drones remained unfeeling because they were designed not to interact with humans in the same way, and they only ever met the metaphorical wire mother. We need video games that remind us of what it means to be human in the face of the post-human and the inhuman. We need video games that remind us we still have the capacity to love and the capacity to forgive. Stray is a game where the absence of humans is loud and full of love. Unlike in most dystopian fiction, humans are overall not blamed for the end of the world. They're not portrayed as the true monsters or the secret villain. B12 is the most pessimistic character in the game, often bringing up the fact that it blames humans and corporations for decline, yet the robots don't mourn a world lost because they didn't lose a world, they were born into a new one. This is not a dystopia where machines overtook man in a struggle for power, or a story where mankind's invention of Zerks brought about their downfall. No, this is a quiet apocalypse. The Zerks are said to have only gotten dangerous after humans were gone, and the robots only became sentient long after as well. The journey throughout this game has B12 posing the question over and over again. Is it worth it? If there are no humans left, is there a point to all of this? Dr. Poppy Wilde describes post-human empathy as a form of empathy that occurs across biological and technological divides, and where neither entity takes prominence. B12's emotional arc is accepting that the robots are just as worth saving as humans were. The robots might fight, make mistakes, and overall be flawed, yet they reflect their creators and their best intentions. B12 learns to accept post-human empathy and realize that they are the human legacy, and so is their love for each other. Stray by Blue 12 Studios is an optimistic outlook on dystopia and the extinction of humans. Not in the sense that the subtraction of humans from Earth would ultimately benefit the planet, but that the legacy of care and community that we have built will long outlive us as a species.